this is Kandia with Kandia Haynesworth Designs, and thank you so much for joining in today. We are talking about making sense versus making sense. And if you are an embroidery business owner, an embroidery hobbyist, a sewist, a crafter, I really think that you will benefit from today's topic, so join in. Most home-based fiber art or fiber craft business such as sewing and embroidery started as a hobby and transitioned into a business due to the demand of services, increase of passion, or as an opportunity to earn income as a homemaker or after retirement. Regardless to how it happens, the business owner must make sure she or he confronts certain topics before diving into business. Many people will tell you to calculate costs, develop your market, like know your customer, know who your customers are, and they will even share strategies on how to advertise and promote your business. But a lot of people won't tell you none of it makes sense if you are not making sense. My name is Kandia Haynesworth, and I am a wife. I am a mother of two sons. I am a daughter. I am a sister, a best friend. I work as an imaging intake specialist. Oh, yeah. And I'm an embroidery business owner. Okay, so I said that in that order just so you understand how many titles that you actually hold. Okay, so you're not only CEO of your sewing business or your embroidery business or your craft business, you are so many other things. And it's important that you understand who you are and what your role is and what your expectations in each of those roles are. You understand? Because they may not conflict, or they may conflict, I'm sorry, or they may not be able to complement each other. For example, my role as an imaging intake specialist has nothing to do with my role as an embroidery business owner, because my clients don't care if I've had a hard day at work or hard week at work. All they know is if their order is due on Saturday, they want it. So it's important to understand who you are, what your expectations are, and not mix the two. So if you have 2 or 3 toddlers at home, it doesn't matter if you have an order that's due the next day. If someone has an ear infection, someone has diarrhea, someone is teething, those babies want you to be mom. They don't care about your embroidery business. They want you to be mom, and so forth. So I just want to make sure that it's clear on who you are, because once you understand who you are, what your roles are, and that time doesn't have anything to do with, this is my time to be a mom and this is my time to be an embroidery business owner. Once you understand that, then it will start making sense to what you are doing, how you are doing it, and why you are doing it. Unfortunately, when I started my embroidery business back in 2009, I didn't have a Facebook group. I didn't have a YouTube channel. I didn't have an embroidery mentor. I didn't have anyone to turn to tell me, Candia, this is what you should do. And so that means that because I was kind of going at it alone, I didn't have anyone to give me the list of things that make sense and make sense. Okay, so this means that I didn't know that if I was doing something, I had to really analyze it to see if what I was doing didn't make sense, and it would ultimately prove that I would be only making sense. Let's go back into this a little bit. Let's go deeper into what I'm talking about here. So this is from my brag book of 2010, 2011, and I want you to take a couple of seconds just to kind of scan your eyes over my presentation and my embroidery work, and tell me what you think. And and I'll continue to talk as you analyze or assess my pictures and so forth. And one of the things I want to tell you, don't pay attention to the quality of the photos. Back then, I didn't have a good camera that I had now. Technology, it evolves, it develops, and all of that. So digital cameras was just evolving around this time. I thought I had an awesome camera, a memory card, and so forth. And technology was not as crisp and as clear as it is. There was no such thing as HD cameras at that time. No such thing as smart cameras at that time, or smartphones at that time. So this is what I have to work with. And just like older photos back in the 70s and the 80s, it is what it is. As modern technology evolves, we get better. But at that time, we, use what we have. That was back then. Okay, so now that you've heard all that stuff that I've said, you've had a couple of seconds to kind of scan over my work. And I did that on purpose. And I talked about cameras and stuff on purpose, even though that doesn't even matter. But I wanted you to really take a couple of seconds to analyze this work. Okay, so back then, I did not have a formula or strategy for developing, my ensembles. And, if you look at this ensemble, a person that is unseasoned, meaning a new beginner, a new beginning embroidery business owner would say, oh, well, I think it's cute. I think it's nice. I think it's lovely. I mean, looking at it, from an unseasoned eye, you would think that it looks great. The color scheme works well. The personalization and applique complement each other, and it is packed nice and compact to a reusable basket with a decorative floral bow element. But a well-seasoned embroidery business owner, such as myself, years later, will be instantly able to tell the immaturity of this embroidery business simply by the underpricing. Okay, so the ensemble itself, we're talking about how many pieces so far? The first picture shows that at least 5 pieces. We're not even including the basket, okay, because the basket should be included as well. So it's well underpriced, and the basket alone was about $5. All right, okay, and the bottle alone is about $1. Okay, because you don't find wholesale bottles. You may find wholesale baskets, but it's very rare that you find wholesale bottles. All right, and it's priced at $34.50, and if you notice, look at the fine print. My little cute little fine print says plus free delivery. Okay, so like I said, an unseasoned or new beginning embroidery business owner would think that it's displayed well, it looks nice, the colors work well, the patterns work well, but a well-seasoned embroidery business owner would have quickly saw that this person who is presenting this is not an established embroidery business owner. And if she is, meaning she has time underneath her embroidery business, she is not a person who knows her worth, values her worth, or she's just simply underpriced items. Okay, the font and the applicator paired together does not work. Okay, so even though it's paired together, that should not be. I would never put a Corsiva font with such a curvy applique. Okay, because if you look closely at the curves of the A, that is what the font should complement. Okay, but a person who is not well seasoned will work with whatever embroidery fonts is in their embroidery machine. Okay, so instantly I would be able to tell that this is a person who doesn't have an eye for really pairing things together. Okay, and then now the third thing is, let's look at the items that we got pulled together. Okay, now first of all, let's talk about what's in this ensemble. We have a personalized towel mat, 2 burp cloths, a koozie, a bottle, packed in a basket. Okay, first of all, the personalized towel mat does nothing to complement the burp cloths and the koozie. It does not go. So if you're going to do a personalized towel mat, this needs to be a bath set. Okay, I should have added some toiletries. I should have added, maybe a bath toy, something that complements a bath theme. One does not have anything to do with the other. We have a bottle, we have a koozie, we have burp cloths. Now that could all tie in together because that's signifies feeding, burping time, that kind of thing. But the towel mat, which is actually the star of the show here, does not have anything to do with the little accessories around it. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about, making sense. It doesn't make sense that these items were pulled together. Okay, and it proved that all these items proved together because this is a custom personalized towel mat. So that means that now we're talking about time that I added into making this set. It doesn't make sense to do such a thing and then make only pennies, which is making sense. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about, making sense versus making sense. Both of them need to be paired together and complement each other. And Unfortunately, I didn't know that in 2010, 2011. I didn't have anyone to tell me that in 2010 and 2011. But if you start to look at your photos or items that you pull together, I'm hoping that you will be able to analyze yourself quickly on in your embroidery business and not have to do it years later after a bunch of trips and falls. For my embroidery business, here's what makes sense. My embroidery business specializes in baby ensembles, whether all or partially custom made. Configuring these sets is what I love to do, and it is what I'm good at. However, you should know that baby ensembles is my specialty. It's not my only. I have other clients, such as the local community college, where I provide embroidery services for their fleece jackets. And I also do smaller personalized ensembles, such as these baking sets. I tend to stay away from the cutesy items such as key fobs or keychains and t-shirts or hats. But that's my embroidery business. Once again, you have to know what your embroidery is doing, what your embroidery business is doing, why you're doing it, and it must make sense. Okay, so now it's your turn. What does your embroidery business specialize in, and does it make sense? Do you love what you're doing and are you good at it? So, if you're not good at it, I wouldn't worry about that now, especially if you are a beginner, because that will come with time. Okay, just like anything else, you just don't up and be good at something just because you like to do it or you love to do it. Okay, but you should at least love and like to do it, especially if you are investing in an embroidery machine. Embroidery machines, you can find a $50 sewing machine. You can even find a sewing machine on Black Friday for $39. You are not going to find a $100 embroidery machine. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. And so if you are making an investment of a couple of $100, of a couple of $1,000, of a cost of a car, which is, a multi-needle machine, then you better love it. You better like it a little bit more closer to loving it. Okay, because that's a lot of money. Okay, you don't want to waste your money. All right. Whereas if you purchased a $39 sewing machine on Black Friday or Christmas sale, after Christmas sale, yeah, no one wants to waste money, but I'm really not that upset if I, blew 40 bucks on a sewing machine and I decided that no, sewing is not my thing. But if you spend $10,000 on a an embroidery machine, or $500 on an embroidery machine, that's a bill. $10,000 for a an embroidery machine is a down payment on a house. And so, uh, what you're doing must make sense, okay? And that brings me to my next thing too. Now, let's say you love it. What are you doing? Because if you're doing something in your embroidery business that's not paying for your machine, paying for your supplies and materials, and paying yourself, it, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So I want you to take some time to think about and analyze exactly what your practices and habits are. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to stop. I'm not discouraging anyone, but you might need to tweak it a little bit. You might need to eliminate or add some things to your embroidery business. Okay, and so that's one of the things that I would like you to do. And that is also one of the reasons why I started doing the videos of the embroidery blanks at Dollar Tree and so forth, just to kind of get our wheels turning. I don't, as an embroidery business owner of a baby ensemble gift basket business, I don't only want to do bibs and blankets. There are so many other things that I can add to my baby ensembles. Okay, obviously I'm going to have guidelines, that's going to be the special items or the most popular items, baby blankets, baby bibs, but there's so much more. And then the size of the ensembles. So I had to also, think about that as well. Maybe everybody don't have $200 or $150 to invest in an ensemble. What does that mean? That they can't get it? So, I had to, and I have to always be open to what makes sense for my embroidery business, what makes sense for my customers, what makes sense for me as the embroidery business owner. And I want you to take some think about that. All right, so I didn't mean to take the whole time to talk about what makes sense, but it really does need to just make sense. It really does. All right, so if this turned into a it just makes sense course, okay, that's what it is. However, we still need to talk about the money aspect of this, okay, which is making sense. And if I could define that a little bit more, I'm talking about not charging enough for your embroidery services, developing the confidence to say, this is what my item costs, this is what my baby ensemble costs, this is what my wine basket costs, this is what my personalized tote costs, my personalized hoodie costs. Whatever it is that you are personalizing, this is what your price is, and it needs to make more than just cents. It needs to make dollars. So that's what we're going to talk about in part two. I really didn't want this to be a part one and part two because I know a lot of people don't like that. But I want to end this here. Go get some water. My throat is dry. I want you to go get some water. I'm trying not to go get an oatmeal cookie when I really want it, or a devil dog. And I'm really trying to tell myself that I really need to grab that green apple. But I need a break. And so I'm going to take a break. So in part two, ladies and gentlemen, embroidery boss, YouTubers, viewers, new beginners of embroidery business owners, we are going to talk about money. Okay, we're going to talk about what just makes sense to do. And we're going to talk about what makes sense not to do because it only makes sense. You understand what I'm saying? So if something only makes sense, meaning it only makes pennies, then it doesn't make sense. All right, so stay tuned. I appreciate you logging in for this the discussion with me. I am so interested to know what you think about it. I know I go on and on and on, and I, get distracted and so forth, but I think you guys are kind of going to start learning me, and you kind of know that I always will kind of bring you back, full circle, that is. Okay, so if you can post your comments and thoughts below, that would really be appreciated. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel. Once again, if you are an embroidery business owner, come and join me on the group Embroidery Boss in the group Embroidery Boss on Facebook. I have my words jumbled up. That's another thing too. I always get jumbled up. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm kind of dumb. I'm not. It's just that, my mind just always on to the next thing. So anyway, if you are an embroidery hobbyist, consider joining this group. We can help you not necessarily develop. Everybody don't want to be a business owner. I get it. But doesn't mean that you can't be a great hobbyist. We can help you be great. We all are, on different levels and so forth. And if you are not, you're just kind of teetering around, then come visit me on Kandia@Haynesworth.com on Facebook. That's all I have for you right now until part two. And once again, give me a like, a thumbs up, post a comment, and subscribe to the channel. And go get some water and a cookie. I mean an apple. Bye.